In this tutorial, you will make a complicated axe handle easily using the Forms tool in Autodesk Fusion. This includes adding and adjusting canvas images, creating a primitive form, and then slowly adding to it and modifying it using the Modify, Subdivide, and Fill Hole tools. We will finish this tutorial by creating a professional render. Stay tuned to the next tutorial where we will create a vacuum fixture to mill it out on a CNC router. Welcome to the Learn It channel. Let's make an axe handle in the Forms environment. So to start this tutorial off, I'd just like to send a quick shout out to Josh. This is one of the benefits about being one of our Patreon members, especially Titanium and Gold, is that you can make requests for tutorials. And that's exactly what he did. He needed some help. And I hope to be able to help with creating this axe handle. So let's just take a look at it. First of all, I'm in render mode right now, and you can see there are a lot of complex shapes to this. And so what we need to ask when we want to create a complex shape as this is we want to ask, well, how would it be manufactured or produced regularly? Well, I'm sure that a lot of the work of this type of axe handle is done by hand. Of course, some of the meat of the material would probably be cut out with bandsaws and things like that. But a lot of shaping probably with a big file or some other types of shaping instrument, cutting tools to make this type of organic shape. And so with that in mind, when we want to make some sort of artistic approach to this project without any fast and hard rules or dimensions, well, this takes us into the form, the T-Spline environment. And this will help us to create this complex shape quite easily. But not only that, we're going to split this tutorial into 2 episodes. The first is going to be the modeling side of it, and then the second is going to be the CNC side of it. So we're going to cut this out on a CNC router. And yeah, I'll show you how to create a vacuum jig and be able to do this all together. So please, if you want to see both these episodes and other episodes like this, please consider subscribing. All right, let's get right into it. So I'm going to open up the data panel, and you'll see that there's 2 images over here. Those images can be found on our Patreon site for free members. So please head on over. There's also a link in the description below. Now, once you've downloaded them, go up here to File. So open up your folder, first of all, your project folder, File, and Upload. And you're just going to drag and drop right into this section. And it should default to the project folder that you're in right now. You can upload and then they will show up right here. Now, once you have that, you can create yourself a new design. And this is handy about Fusion. A lot of people don't know this. You can switch between designs very easily at the top and just create additional ones right there. Now, one other thing is we're going to go to Preferences, and here you're going to select Z Up. So a lot of our subscribers and viewers are concerned about the origin orientation. And so I pick Z up, and that's generally because on a CNC router or even a 3D printer, the Z axis is going up. And so that's what you see here. This blue line corresponds to our view cube, Z going up, and then you have X, Y forming kind of the base or the table of our design. So once we've done that, let's insert these canvas images. I'm going to first of all insert the top one, and we don't do it from our data panel. We go over here and we insert a canvas. And now, because we've imported those pictures or images right into our project folder, it should show up and we can pick the top image first. So let's insert that. Now I'm going to pick the XY construction plane. Now let's just orient this. I'm going to orient it 90 degrees and go OK. Let's go to our top view. And now let's calibrate this. So we need to make sure that the model that we create is actually going to be the size that we'd like it to be. And this is a great example of when we do import a canvas image, do it on a darker background, put a measuring tape down or a ruler or something so that we can calibrate this very easily. So let's go up here to our canvas image, and you can just expand that folder, right click, calibrate. And we're going to pick 2 points on this. And so I got a number of suggestions from ones in the past. Don't pick the end here because this obviously can wiggle back and forth depending if you're measuring on the inside or outside of something. So I'm just going to go pick 2 right here. And I do agree. Even if we were to pick the end and then another point over here and calibrate it, that difference is going to be very tiny when everything is calibrated and said and done. Anyways, I'm just going to go over to 32 over here, and I'm going to specify this as 30 inches total. So 32 minus 2 equals 30. And of course, this is gigantic now. So there we go. Perfect. Now, I'd also like to orient or place this canvas close to the origin. Now, the origin is right in the center. But good practice and good standard is to get used to placing your canvas and even your model somewhere based off of your origin. So the way to do that is we're going to edit the canvas, and then I'm just going to grab this handle right there and place it. I'm going to place it right there. I think that's perfect. It's going to be the center of the handle, and then I'll be able to, bring the form over this way and easily create it. But this will reference all sorts of things in the future. We can easily set things at our origin, confident that our model is also going to be at the origin. Everything is just very easy to reference that way. Let's go okie dokie. We're going to go to the home view, and now this is ready to go. But we're not ready to go until we insert the second canvas, so the side image as well. So let's go to Insert, Canvas, and we're going to insert the side image here, and let's put it on our XZ plane. Now here we're going to make it a little bit big, and I'm just going to talk about this briefly. Let's go OK. Let's go to our side view right here, and again we're going to go to Edit. Now we don't need to recalibrate this because we're kind of basing this image on the first image that we've just put in, but we do need to orient it. So there we go. Now, how do we orient this, or how do we make it the same size as the other without calibrating? Again, we could calibrate, but it might be off a little bit. But here's the thing, we're going to make the origin visible again. And sometimes if it wasn't shown like it was just there, I had made it visible, but it wasn't showing up. You just toggle it back off and on, and there you go. Now I'm going to pull this so it's at the same position. Remember, we're kind of, putting the origin right at the center of our handle, all the way on the far left. Now with that placed, let's just grab our view cube and drop it down a little bit so we can see our other canvas image. And of course, this needs to grow or be scaled up quite a bit. So let's just do that. We could also just approximate it, put it in the middle of the other canvas, bring it up in the scale just a little bit, and we're going to try and make it the same size. Again, we could calibrate it, but I find that this is quite a bit easier at this point, and sometimes the calibration doesn't make it the exact same size. So you think it would, but sometimes, depending on some factors like perspective and things like that, it doesn't look the same. So anyways, let's just bring this on over here. I've gone a little bit too big. I'm just going to do a fine adjustment, toggling or putting in a specific scale. Now that looks about right. I'm just going to bring this back up. Can go right to our front view. And this looks nearly perfect. However, the angle is a little bit off. And if I just drag this down a little bit, you'll see the other plane show up. It's a little bit high, not on our mid plane. So I need to change the angle of this slightly, ever so slightly. This is the direction we want to go, but -5 degrees is too much. Let's go -1. That looks a little bit better. Let's bring this back up to the center point. Again, I'm looking over here. And then we'd like this to be, split right at the halfway mark there. So I'm going to bring this back now. It was too much at 1 degree. Let's go 0.5 degrees. And this looks a little bit better. So again, this takes a little bit of time to orient everything. But once you do, I think at this point, we're good to go. There we have it. Let's go OK, back to our home view. And now you've got both of these canvas images overlapping each other, which is looking great. Now, in order to see these canvas images well, we have to use or create our main object or component in our umbrella, in our top level component umbrella. And so if I were to create a new component, let's just call this visibility check. You can see as soon as I do that, if we were to create our form within this component, well, our canvas images are very hard to see, very difficult to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to undo that, Command Z, Control Z, and we're going to create our form within this as our main component. And then later on, we can create it as its own component. So I'm actually going to create a body right now, but then later on, as I'll show you, we can create a component from that. Let's just hide the data panel so we can use more of our canvas area. Now, let's do it. Let's go to top. And we are going to also angle this. I kind of like that orientation for the design. And we're going to go right into the create form environment. Very good. So when we look at whatever part we're going to start with, I'm going to start with the easiest section, which is right here. And I'm going to bring it on down. I'm going to create the model, the form all the way down to the bottom. But when we look at this top right here, it looks like a cylinder, of course. But when we look at our side profile, our side image, you can see it will have this kind of egg shape at our start. So the easiest thing we can do is we're going to create a primitive. A primitive is just a basic shape in our create drop-down menu. And I think that cylinder is going to be the easiest. So let's go there. Back to our top. There we go. And I'm going to create it on, well, our XY plane right there. Perfect. And then I'll create it just at our origin. Again, this is the whole point of creating it on the origin, is we have a good place to start our T-Spline. And then I'm going to make it approximately the same size as our handle. So there we go. Now, one thing I'm going to do here is our diameter face. I am going to bring this on down to 4. And the reason is I would like, well, I'm going to bring this down to 2 right there, or just 1 height face for now. So we've got this section 1, 2, 3, 4 split like that. Remember, the fewer amount of faces to start, the better. We can always add faces later, but it's very hard to remove faces. So let's just start off with that. Symmetry. We could add symmetry right now, but I'm going to show you a different way to do that. So let's go OK. Basically, we don't want the left side of our part to be the same as our right. So this isn't symmetrical, but if we look at the side, this is symmetrical. The top and the bottom are exactly the same. So the way we're going to create symmetry is, again, in our, when we created a form, we could have just selected mirror. However, I find this way very easy as well. Let's just go symmetry, and we're going to go to mirror internal. And I'm going to pick the 2 faces that are symmetrical, and it will add this green line. You see the green line right there and there? That means that this is the line of symmetry, or the mirror point. This face will be the exact same as this, and vice versa. This face is going to be exactly the same as that. So let's go OK. And now we've got the beginnings of our T-Spline. So let's go like this, and now we've got to work with this. So what I tend to do within form modeling, there's a bunch of different ways to go about this, but I want all of the viewers out there, all of you and our subscribers, to see how the lines and how the vertices and how the faces all interact with one another. When we use these tools, it creates something smooth that interacts with the next set of faces. And so this is just going to be fun. I encourage you to follow along with me, and let's just get it done. So what I'd like to do is just for ones who haven't experimented with T-Splines or form models, we can pick a single aspect, whether it be an edge, a face, or a vertex. And we can pick multiple vertices if we want by holding down Command or Control on Windows. But if we wanted to pick any entire loop of something, you just double click and you see how it picks that entire loop. There we go. Now I'd like to go to Modify, and I'd like to pull this down. So I'm just going to grab the arrow and I'm going to pull it down to approximately where there's going to be a change. And so in this case, you can see that probably around this point and this point, there's going to be somewhat of a change. And I'd like to just start there. Now I'd like to create another group of faces. So let's just create all these groups of faces all the way down our part, all the way down our axe handle. And the way we do that is you hold down Alt. So Option on Mac, Alt on Windows. And as soon as we do that, you can see as soon as we grab the arrow, now we've got a second group. I'm going to pull this approximately to where the next change is going to happen, where the path of the arcs kind of makes this change. And don't worry about placing it perfectly. Now let's just do that. I'm going to grab another one. Let's pull it down there. And you can see that, again, these groups of faces, they interact with one another. They have a relationship based off of each other. So that's why as I pulled that down, well, this other edge right here is kind of it changes with the amount or the direction or the distance of this group of faces. So I'm going to keep on bringing it down here. Let's do another one approximately there. Do another one, and again you're holding down Alt to create another group, and we're going to go all the way there. Don't worry about making it perfect. Okay, we can just zoom in if we want it to have finer control. There we go. So this is approximately, and of course we can always add faces or delete them later, but it's easier to add them. So just start as simple as you can. Now here's the fun part. Again, we're going to see how everything interacts with one another, but basically we need to take this group of edges one at a time and place them approximately in the location that they should go, but we can manipulate them too to conform to our axe handle. So double click that and we can adjust the angle. Now as we adjust the angle, you can see again it has an effect on the other faces over there. So I'm just going to place this approximately, well, right around there, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger as well. So the canvas is off just a little bit. Let's bring the canvas over to the right just a wee bit. Edit canvas. Just bring this on over. There we go, something like that. And then we can go back to our form. Oh, we're still in the form modeling environment. That's perfect. Let's make this a little bit bigger on the top, and we can hide our origin so we don't accidentally pick it. So click on that, double click on it again. Hit the edit form, and now we can make this grow a little bit. And so make sure to grab this handle. We could grab this one as well, but make sure to grab that handle in this instance, and you can see we're kind of turning it into this trumpet shape. But we can do the same thing over here. And let's do that. We're going to make this a little bit bigger as well. All right. And this is a little bit fun, you know, just take your time with it. But I'm going to put a little bit of an angle. So a little bit of a transition between this and the next one. And I'm going to try and bring it up to the start of the arc. So let's bring that on up there. Perfect. Something like that. And now we have to adjust them slowly one at a time. So let's grab this, grab the square, and you move the entire body. All right. So let's move that kind of in position. And you can see now this is way off up there, but that's okay. Let's just make this a little bit smaller, pulling that same handle. There we go. And let's go back on up here and do the same thing. So we're going to slowly adjust this one little bit at a time. Now, look at this. We've got an issue, don't we? Where the center of this, you can see that there's kind of a start up here and an end down there. So we need to add some more edges right here. But let's do that later on. Let's try and control our model a little bit more first. So let's go down here, double click that edge, bring it on over. And you can see now this is quite too large. So we're just going to bring that in. And now you can see again, everything is kind of, we need to update this as we go. So let's just do that. We're going to have to update this a little bit or just move it a little bit. All right, let's just keep it there. Don't worry, don't do the fine adjustments, because as we have seen, one adjustment can affect a bunch of others. So here, this is an example where we're going to use the rotational direction right here. Put it down to 20. We're going to make this a little bit smaller, and we're going to try and find where this the arc kind of meets up with the base over here. And I think I went the wrong direction. So let's go back. Let's change that a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and let's do the same thing over here. I'm going to change this, make it grow a little bit. So, all right, let's grab the handle right there. I'm going to slowly position it again. And then the last one, this actually has to move on over. And then we're going to make this a little bit smaller as well. Perfect. There we go. So we could even put this somewhat into place just like that. Make it expand a little bit more. Okay. So it's just going to be a refining process. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to stop talking because he probably don't want me to hear me say to go here and then do this and do that. But I'm going to slowly refine this so that it kind of, again, takes on the basic shape and utilize the tools and the methods that we just talked about. So let's do that. Maybe I'll just mention a couple things here. We're going to move that. And again, we're just going to slowly make this so it's going to be fitting just within that canvas image. And there we go. Take your time, have fun, and I'll just kind of speed it up right now and go from there. Okay, so that's it. However, we need to add some more faces here in order to make our handle conform to the canvas a little bit more accurately. So let's go on up to the top. And you can see actually that this top portion, which connects and mates with our actual axe head, should be straighter. Now, what I'll have to do is put in two more edges, one here and one down below, and then we can utilize those to conform to the shape a little bit more. So let's go over here. I'm going to pick these two faces, and we're going to go to Modify and then Subdivide. So we don't want it subdividing on these faces vertically, so I'm going to take that off. I believe it's the width. Yeah, there we go, and length. Now, warning, warning, warning. We don't want to take this edge and go Modify and then bring it on down. And the reason is it's totally warping our faces. And what we'd rather do here is I'm going to go to Modify, and we're going to go to Slide Edge. Okay, and we can simply slide this edge down. I'm going to bring it closer to the other one. So let's go OK. There we go. And I can probably bring it down a little bit again. So let's go back to Slide Edge. Drop this down even further, something like that. There we go. Now let's go back to Modify and slowly adjust this once again. And you can see we're getting closer to that shape, aren't we? This one, it's kind of a little bit bulgier out here. Let's put that out. Perfect. We're getting there. We're getting closer. Excellent. And maybe what I can do in order to conform to the shape even more, I'm going to subdivide this right here. Let's go there. Let's go back to Modify and Subdivide and make sure that we're not adding extra faces, just one in the middle. Let's go OK. There we go. This is a little bit better. Now you can see it's a little bit weird right here. So I'm going to grab that edge and modify it, bring it on over. There we go. And here you can see that all of them are the same angle, which is not really good. So I'm going to bring this more flat, and then this one I'm going to bring on an angle just like that. And this will help to dictate the shape a little bit more. So let's do that. I'm going to bring this on down. There we go. Let's just slowly do this here. Perfect. I'd like to make this edge kind of right at the peak of the arc. This can be a little bit bigger right there. There we go. This one can be a little bit bigger too. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And this one actually we could probably go flat, and that will keep the entire top portion flat as well. So what do you think? This is a little bit better right there. And now we're going to do the same thing. I think what we could do is let's angle this. Oh, and I only did the one edge, so that's not good. There we go. Sorry, I've got to go double click and pick that entire one. There we go. Let's bring this on over. Okay, and same thing over here. Maybe adjust that angle and make this a little bit bigger. So I think at this point, probably what I'll have to do is subdivide these faces. So pick both of those again and subdivide. Turn width down to 1. Perfect. And now we can grab, now we have to realign this right there. Perfect. Excellent. And we can make this a little bit bigger right now. Let's just take a brief moment to thank the sponsor of this video, which is PCBWay. Currently, PCBWay is having an 11th anniversary sale. So if you head on over to their website, you can see that there are certain deals, there's specials, there's all sorts of different things. I've been working with PCBWay for over a year now, which has been great. And I'd actually like to just highlight one project that we created. It's a project that we made on our channel. We designed it, but we had it manufactured with PCBWay, and they did an amazing job with brass. They made the safety razors, and since then we've actually ordered 5 more assemblies of stainless steel razors and adjusted them just a little bit. Anyways, they do a great job. They're easy to work with. Their prices are very reasonable. And again, we'd like to thank you very much, PCBWay, for all of your support. Hope everyone that's viewing this goes to check them out. A link is found in the description below. The angle is probably off here a little bit. There we go. So the whole, I think, point of this exercise is to see how everything relates to each other with form modeling. And again, you could make it perfect, absolutely perfect if you wanted to. but just have fun, have the artistic approach to this a little bit more, and just work with it one step at a time. Excellent. So you can see a couple issues right here. This kind of needs to have a little bit more of a curve. So I'm going to add another, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll pick all 4 of these edges or these faces, I should say, and go subdivide. And let's get rid of the width and just have these subdivisions right there and right there. That should be fine. And as you can see, again, it kind of warps our model, which is fine. But let's just slowly adjust it. Probably have to adjust the angle here to make it conform to the canvas a little bit more. Perfect. And now you can see, yeah, this is quite a bit larger. So I need to bring this on down, make it scaled a little bit smaller. There we go. Change the angle here probably. Excellent. Maybe change the angle a little bit more. There you go. So you can kind of see as I'm doing so, again, it has an influence and effect on all the adjacent faces. Let's go back here. This is going to probably have to go a little bit bigger, maybe too big. Look at that. And then we get to our end over here. Perfect. Don't worry about too much about these little fillets and curves. You probably put that in at the very end as you are sanding this smooth. You put those fine little adjustments on there, but it's a little bit difficult to do those incredibly small, changes on a form model. Okay, so now that we have that, it looks great from that perspective. However, if we go to our front view, you can see it is extraordinarily bigger than our side view over here. So we need to take all these edges and make them smaller or scale them down. So double click. And again, we're not going to, don't select this middle point. That will adjust the scale in all directions. So it might look like it's good that direction, but now it's totally changed our top view in our scale. So don't do that. Let's go undo. Pick this one right here. And that will scale it down in this direction, in our Z direction, but it will retain the width over here. There we go. We're going to do the exact same. So again, don't worry about this curve. That we'll probably put in when we're actually doing sanding later on, or once we install the axe head, we'd probably put that make that smooth or whatever. So anyways, let's double click and slowly work with what we've got here. So don't go to the extreme. Remember, one affects the next. So just take these a little bit at a time. There we go. Make smaller adjustments, then larger adjustments. Okay. Perfect. Bring that on down. Look you can see how that's slowly conforming. It's almost like we're putting a vacuum mold around this right now. Okay, so obviously this was a little bit too much. Excellent. And just slowly bring it on down. So you see in that instance, I've kind of worked my way back now, and it's a little bit easier to make this shape just right. You can see that our canvas image is slightly off right now as well. There's more visible on the bottom. And remember, we want to make this symmetric. So I could change the angle a little bit, but I don't think I need to. I don't think it's necessary right at this moment. I could probably, compensate for just a little bit, go a little bit above over here and a little bit below on the other side. So there we go. We're getting this complex shape going very well. All right. So there we go. Now look at this. This is looking beautiful. I think I'm happy with that. I could fuss and fiddle and make it just perfect, but that's what I'd like for you guys to do, and to take your time, make it just right. But once we're satisfied, we're going to close off these. Now, right now, it's just kind of a hollow body, isn't it? So we're going to have to go to Modify, and then let's go Fill Hole. So here we can grab that. It automatically recognizes it, that it's a hole and it needs to be filled, but it puts this nice curvature on there. It makes it all nice and smooth, but we want to keep creases. So just go like that and go OK. We can also do the Fill Hole mode. We can change it to Fill Star. collapse. It doesn't really do anything as we keep edges, but you can see fill star does something like that. Reduce star, collapse, but just make sure to go keep creases in this instance. Okay. Remember to go to our last tool. We're going to go right click, repeat fill hole. I'm going to pick that. Now here we don't want to keep the creases because it's kind of got this nice smooth, type of design on the end, on the butt of the handle. So that looks great. And again, you can just experiment. You can either go collapse or reduce star, fill star, but I think collapse is going to be the best. It keeps the faces somewhat similar. Very good. So I think this looks great. I think that looks amazing. So now we're just going to finish our form and we can examine it a little bit more. This is looking really, really, really good. You can also see that this face, let's just turn on the origin and we can go to the front. Is this perfectly in line? Yes, it is. It's looking great. Now, if it wasn't and we did want a perfect, cut right here on our YZ plane, I could always press pull this, another inch, something like that, and then split the body with our splitting tool right there. Go OK. And now we've got two bodies over here, body 1, body 2. They turn blue, whatever one we're selecting. Body 1 I want to get rid of, so right click and we can just go remove. And now this face is perfectly in line with our origin construction plane, our YZ plane. So there we go. That is looking really, really good. Now let's add an appearance to it. Let's go A for appearance. And we could also go, actually before we do that, let's go to body. And at this point, we're going to create components from bodies. As soon as we do that, now the body turns into a component and we're just going to turn this into our axe handle component. Very good. And now let's right click on axe handle and we're going to change a physical material. We can go right down to the bottom, wood. And it's got all these different types of woods. I think I'm going to pick, let's go maple. Yeah, let's go maple, drag and drop. Now it doesn't add an appearance to this. You can see it's blank. However, it does show us the correct mass. If we were to go to right click and then properties, now it shows us the correct mass instead of it coming up as steel as the default material that I generally use. Okay, and then go A for appearance. We can also right click on our axe handle and go appearance right there, but A is the shortcut, so A. And then here, wood. So at the very bottom, we've got all these different selections. We can do finished, painted, stained, unfinished. I don't know, let's try stained. And then I'm going to find maple, dark stained, semi-gloss. No, let's just do, well, maybe instead of stained, let's go to finished. Yeah, let's do that. And let's pick maple, glossy. And you can see this is 3D, which is really helpful in putting this intricate look to our handle. I think that looks really cool. That looks awesome. That looks very, very good. Now, if we just wanted to change the appearance right here, maybe we don't like the position of all the knots and the grain, we could always go right click and then texture map controls. And now we can drag this arrow. And as you see, our appearance, it changes a little bit. There we go. Just look at the center of the grain over here. There we go. And you can see it moves left or right or however we want. I'll probably put it right there. That looks good. I mean, it might be best to put it in the center at the top here. But again, it really doesn't matter. Whatever you think. This is kind of the fun thing about Fusion. But there we go. So now this is looking fantastic. Let's just save our design. Now, just before we finish this tutorial, I just wanted to say thank you to all of our members, YouTube and Patreon members, all of those that have subscribed. You're helping support the channel immensely. And if you like what we do and you like the pace that we're at, please comment below and let us know what you appreciate about the channel and also how we can improve. We can only improve if you give some constructive feedback. Now, we are going to get into the manufacturing side of this axe handle. And we're going to be making a custom vacuum base in order to hold this so we can accurately machine it. So we're going to touch on all of that. But before we get there, let's just go to the last feature of this tutorial and we're going to make a nice render of this. So let's go to render And here we have it. You can see though, if we just position this like as you know, going to take a nice render image, and let's go to in canvas render, you can see that the front of our handle is kind of floating, and this isn't natural. So we're going to make this look as natural as possible. And so let's just go stop right there. And so what I'm going to do is create a completely new design, and we're going to, well, is this saved? Our axe handle is saved. Very good. Oh, sorry. Before we go new design, let's just exit out of that. I'm going to go to create and then create a derived file. Once we do that, I'm going to select axe handle and go OK. And basically what this does is it creates a child file. And so anything we do to the parent, anything we do to this one, it will automatically update the child component or child file here. But the cool thing is that we can manipulate this at this time so that we can make it look more natural. And one of the things we need to do is change the angle of it. So let's go here to move, copy, and we can just grab maybe the endpoint right there. But basically I want to make this, I'm just going to bring it to the bottom of the screen and use this as like the table. And you can see we don't want any part of our handle floating. So maybe instead of, yeah, I can pick that side. So we're going to move it on up, and I'm just going to do 1 degree. Let's bring it on down. Is that closer? You can see it's almost hitting right here. So 1 degree is probably pretty close. 1.1, 1.2. Let's go 1.2. All right. And now you can see that the model is hitting right there and over there. So this is going to look a lot more natural when we do the render. And we can do the render right at this point within this design. So I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call this axe handle derived for render. Okay, so now in our data panel, we've got axe handle derived for render. We've got axe handle. So this is looking great. Let's just close that. Let's go into the render environment. Very good. I think this is looking just beautiful. And you can see that the lighting is a little bit, maybe we don't like that lighting, but I'm going to go to the scene settings. And the first thing I like to do generally is aspect ratio, change it to 16:9, and this shows the complete frame of our image that we're going to render. And then I'd like to just move this into place. Now, one thing that makes this look not too natural is this super sharp line right here. There's no way that you're going to be able to create this incredibly sharp line, and that's why it looks unnatural. So let's just go back to design, and I'm going to put a fillet right there, and we're just going to do something small. Doesn't have to be anything huge, just 50 thou in this instance. That's great. Let's go back to render, and we can fit this because it disappeared on us. Now there we go. So this is looking a little bit better, and I kind of like this view right there. I think that's going to look really cool for a rendered image. So if we find a good view that we like, we can just go to name views, new name view. I'm going to call this ISO render 1, something like that. And if you're wondering why I can move this around so freely, is I'm using a 3D Connection Enterprise Edition right now. I'm going to leave a link below if you're interested in purchasing one of these. Please use that link. It helps us in a small way with no additional charge to you. So anyways, yeah, I like this render view. If it changes a little bit, I could also go right click and then update name view. So something like that. Let's do like that. Perfect. And now let's go to our scene settings and change a couple things. Our environment library. Right now we have sharp highlights. We can go to cool light and just see the difference of that. Let's go to field. Field, if we don't turn on our background here to environment, well, you'll see that in fact, it's just the lighting environment without the background. Now, if we did want the background to be environment, there you go. We can place it right on this pathway right there. And that looks all right, but I'm going to turn this off to just solid color. Let's go photo booth. Photo booth looks really nice. There we go. And if we don't like the angle of the light, if we wanted to change it, we could go to position and we can go to rotation. And you can see this is just changing the light. There we go. I don't know. I think a little bit of light on the back or there. Maybe on the front too. That looks really nice. Perfect. And then to make it look even more professional, let's turn depth of field on. And what I like to do, I can show you what this looks like as we turn on our in-canvas render. I'm just going to pick a point over here, maybe right there. And this is going to be the focal point. Say we're using an actual camera. We can focus on this and there'll be a blur just because of our f-stop setting, right? But if we go to our in-canvas render, you can see it's focused right on the front and then it blurs out. I think that's too much. So let's change this to 0.5 in the blur. And again, I've turned on in-canvas render. So this is rendering as we speak, and it shows the rendering down here. That looks pretty nice too. I think it's a little bit too much still. So let's try 0.3. And I think that looks really cool. Now, the only problem with this view is you can't really tell that this is an axe handle, can you? Okay, so let's just do this. Let's just go close. And I am going to render this. So turn off in-canvas render. Let's go to render here. Pick local render. And then with the width and the height, I'm just going to go to something like 2000 is pretty good. Custom aspect ratio, go back to 16:9, and that will be the exact same aspect ratio as what's on our screen. Local render, you can also go to advanced settings and go excellent. I'm just going to keep it on 75 right now, and let's go render. And we'll let it do its thing and finish its render. You can see in the bottom left there, we have a rendering gallery, and my computer goes pretty quick. I'm using an M4 Mac Mini M4 Pro. And so I'll leave a link in the description to that too, if you're interested. But once the canvas is done, the render is done, we can go there and we can download it, which this is looking pretty good. I would like to do one more though. I'm going to do it from the top view. There we go. And something like, maybe something like this, or should I go right from the top? Yeah, maybe right from the top. What do you think? It can fit. That doesn't really look the best, so I'm just going to reorient that. There we go. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to save this name view as well. So let's go to top render 1, something like that. Or I could just call this render 2 or whatever we want. You can rename it. Rename. Perfect. And here I'm going to go back to the scene settings and I'm going to turn the depth of field off because I don't want depth of field on this. I just want to, take a nice no blur. And even if we did add it, it would add very little blur to it. So do I want it slightly on an angle? Do I want it something like this? No, I think just the top render, how I had it, was very good. There we go. And we can go close and let's render this too. I'm just going to update that name view and render. All the settings should be the same, so we can just re-render it there. Perfect, and we can check out this render, just the preview of it, and we can also download it to make it full size. But this is looking really good. We could also change the background color if we wanted over here by clicking on the scene settings and then color. We can also always change that, but gray is kind of basic. This is looking great. I would love to see your renders too. So if you have finished this project and you'd like to send us whatever type of axe handle you've created, that would be great. And if you'd like to see the axe head created in a future tutorial, please drop a comment in the comment section below. So hope you stay tuned for the manufacturing side of this, and thanks for learning CAD CAM with the Learn It channel.